Today's episode of the GoldCast is sponsored by a little bit of hope. Raymond, if we can sit here and just keep it together for several more weeks, we can probably get enough pieces back to make another run. And I'm feeling a lot more optimistic today than I did when we recorded our Tuesday episode, which just went up live on YouTube. Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay, but then this episode will be up by Friday morning. Our Giants and 49ers preview. But Raymond, before we get started, before we get into this hope, before we talk about what we think is going to happen in this game, why don't you let them know where can they find us?
You can always find us on Twitter at @the_GoldCast. You can also follow us on Instagram at the GoldCast, and you can also subscribe to us via iTunes, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Stitcher, and Spotify, all under the same moniker of the GoldCast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you're on YouTube or any other platform, because we always like to get your feedback, especially on Thursdays, because Thursday is the day of this recording. These are our preview episodes. This is when we take a look at each opponent that we're going to face, home or away, and break down how we think the game should play out and how we think the game is going to play out. So we always love it when you participate in those conversations, because your opinion matters too. YouTube is one of the best places to do that for. So like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell on YouTube, because we want your input. We are asking for your inputs. The more, the better.
We're not just asking. We are demanding. We are ordering you to respond.
Do that shit. What's the matter with you?
All right, here we go. We are going to get into it. This is our preview episode. We're going to be looking at our second week in a row in the House of Horrors, MetLife Stadium. And luckily, our last week for the year. So let's get this over with. Let's get this game over with. Let's get a win, and let's move on. But first, the greatest fanalist in the game. He's here. Your professor of fanalism. I'm in the building, too. Class is in session. Let's go. I don't know why I pointed that way.
This is the GoldCast.
Boom! Welcome to another edition of the GoldCast. We are the voice of the Bay. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and with me is my brother, my co-host,
Raymond Solis the First, baby.
Boom! Raymond, all right. I mean, there's not a whole lot that we could say that already hasn't been said about last week. The main thing we can do is try and pick up the pieces, both as a team and as a fan base, and trudge on, because the season is far from over. We have plenty of games left. We have most of the team that will be coming back in the next couple weeks, and we just have to get through these next 3 weeks. We just got to get through the Giants, the Eagles, the Dolphins. All 3 games are winnable.
Giants are hot right now. Dolphins are hot right now. Thank God we're not playing them this week.
Thank God.
Fitzy's got the Fitz magic going.
He's got that Fitz magic going. You know that Fitz magic. It's there. But
he can ball when he focuses and turns it on. He could ball like the best of them. He just fortunately has been mostly shitty most of his career.
Yeah, he can be very inconsistent. That's for sure. So, but let's talk about this Giants team. I believe some people, the second the Niners went down, some people had us as the underdogs in this game. It has since flipped. We are definitely the favorites. I think Saquon Barkley going down kind of even the playing field, unfortunately. I will take every team, even the teams I hate the most, the Seahawks of the world, the New England Patriots of the world. I will take those teams at full strength, full health versus our teams at full strength, full health. The last thing I want to see is Barkley go down and Jimmy G go down and Nick Bosa, and then have, shells of these teams here at the moment. That's the last thing I want to see. But here we are. This is it. And let's start, Raymond, by going over the Vegas lines. This is always my favorite thing to begin with, and then you're going to give us that dreaded injury report. But let's start with the Vegas line. So right now, The Vegas has us at -6.5 in favor of the San Francisco 49ers. The total right now, I don't see any totals under here. I'm over on FanDuel, but as of right now, they have not released the over under on it. But that's okay. We'll keep going. That's kind of inconsequential to what we're really interested in. San Francisco, we're just looking at stats from last season, okay? San Francisco right now is averaging 29.6 points per game. They were number 3. They were surrendering 19.5 points per game. That was number 7. The Giants averaged 21.3 points per game, 18th in the NFL. Surrendered 28.2 points per game. That was 30th. It doesn't look like the numbers are fully out yet for this season. Maybe they want a couple more games under before they can really kind of trust the averages that are going on here. Right now, the Giants are 0-2. San Francisco is 1-1. The game is at 1 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, September 27th, MetLife Stadium. That'll be on Fox. That'll be at 10 a.m. in our time. So 6.5-point favorites. That feels pretty solid to me. What do you say?
Yeah, that sounds about right, especially with where the teams are. I mean, I'm the eternal bias optimist here, so I'm always going to side with. I think that's a slightly conservative number. I think it's more within the realm of about 10 points, even with the Niners being batted up, because remember, those guys all went down. A lot of defensively speaking, those players went down in the first quarter, the first half of the first quarter. So they were playing without those guys the entire time. So whether that's going to be the same case going forward, it's I think that, in other words, I think that this crew is capable of totally, taking on the Giants the same way they handled the Jets.
I think so too. 6.5 sounds solid, but I could easily, I would take the over on that, and I could easily see us winning by 10 to 14 points. The defense still played very solid, even with Nick Bosa out of the lineup. I expect this offense to continue to play aggressively. Nick Mullins is a more than serviceable quarterback, as you mentioned in our episode earlier this week. More than capable of being a starter on a team somewhere here in the NFL, and luckily he's our backup quarterback. I fully expect him to. He's also got the intangibles. He's got moxie. He's very aggressive. He's a leader. He knows how to rally the troops. And if we were playing the Rams, the Seahawks, or any team from the Gauntlet, I'd be very worried right now. But we're not. We're playing the Giants. We're playing the 0-2 Giants, a team that easily could be competing for the number one pick in the draft at the end of this year. So I'm not that worried about them. Again, we just have to get through this week. We have to get through the next 3 opponents, and then everyone is pretty much back, and then it is game time coming the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet 2 is really going to determine where our season is at. I had a buddy come in, and he's visited me the other day at the bar, and he said, "Hey, man, I just want to say sorry about your Niners, man. You guys are done. You guys are fucking done." And I was like, "What?" I was like, whoa, hold on, bro. We are not done. No, man. I'm sorry. I feel, I got no hate towards your team, Rudy, but you guys are fucking done. Your season is over." And I was like, okay, all right, hold on. Calm down. It's not over. Nick Mullins, more than serviceable quarterback. I basically told him the same thing. I gave him a preview of this episode in like a 5-minute thing. We can win this. So, Raymond, let's move it on. I want to turn it over to you. Let's go through that injury report. Always the tail of the tape. Who will be playing for the 49ers? Is anyone coming back? Let the people know.
Well, we already know Tevin Coleman's out. We know Raheem Mostert is out. We know Dee Ford is out. We know Jimmy Garoppolo's out. There's a slight chance, I guess, but even Kyle Shanahan said he'd be surprised if Jimmy Garoppolo was ready to go on Sunday. So I think we can all pretty much, turn our eyes to Nick Mullins, who is more than serviceable, as you pointed out. Dre Greenlaw was limited practice on Wednesday and did not participate today, so that's not good. Hopefully we get some semblance. If he returns to practice tomorrow, that'll bode well for Sunday because they do have to fly from where they're at to get to the Giants Stadium. Thank God it's just not a long flight. George Kittle, limited practice yesterday and today, so he's trying to make his way back. He was mum on whether he would play Sunday, but was definitely his upbeat self. You know, that's the main reason why I've got George Kittle behind me here on the picture. Jason Verrett, surprise, was a full participant today. Not sure
He's still on the
him,
team?
but you never know. You never know. I mean, hey, worse things can happen. Maybe a Keller Witherspoon shows us his ugly side, and requires the services of Jason Verrett, who at one time was a 3-time Pro Bowler. So we know that he's capable of playing at a high level. It's just really hard to overcome the series of injuries he's gone through these past few years. So it's one thing to have like one injury and to come back from that. You know, remember AP came back from a really bad ACL and was able to dominate. But Jason Verrett's had a litany of injuries, including some of the worst, to do it. You know, I'm surprised that Jerick McKinnon has played as well as he's played. So thank God. It is one ACL tear, but it was enough there to sideline him for 2 years. So that's the seriousness of that type of injury. So at least with Thomas and Bosa, they're young, and Jerick McKinnon too. So the younger they are, the more optimistic we can be on, you know, their ability to be able to recover to full health and to be able to perform at full speed. So I do like those odds versus if they were a veteran player, you'd be like, you know, time to start thinking retirement, or, you know, this is really going to sideline him. You know, I don't really see the market really opening up for him because of that. But no, not the case with our guys. The Giants really didn't have much going on with it. We all know that Saquon Barkley is the big ticket item that's missing from the lineup, so we know he won't play for the rest of the year. And Adrian Colbert, former 49er, he was on the roster last year. He was limited in practice yesterday and Thursday. And then Carter Coughlin, who's a linebacker, he's been dealing with a hamstring. He was a full participant the past 2 days. So for the most part, they will have the majority of their roster. The point is their roster's got a ton of issues from top to bottom. They really struggle at almost everything. The running game was the one thing that they had going for them. That was something that they were looking forward to really kind of take some of the pressure off of Daniel Jones, although Daniel Jones does have some mobility, but albeit not the same as a Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson or even a Josh Allen for that matter. So I don't really expect that to be a huge, you know, factor that the 49ers defense should be all that intimidated by. In fact, I don't think they should be bothered by it at all. I mean, I think they should expect him to run, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Overall, the Niners, you know, DJ Jones was not on the list, so I believe he will be there for Sunday.
I assume that means his ankle's okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard much. I mean, we know D Ford is out indefinitely, but
yeah, it's a bummer, man. We could really use his services right now. Use some
you know,
pressure
it
off
was
the edge.
on Monday, you know, or the 23rd, I should say. Let's see here. We know Tavon Austin's on IR. We tried to pick him up in free agency. He's gone. Ronald Blair will be back later in the year. Let's see here. I hope that Dre Greenlaw is good to go. Richie James Jr. is out of the lineup. But we know that Jeff Wilson's going to be in the mix. I like some Jeff Wilson, so curious to see him. I did like him a lot. The problem was he was just remember the running back roster was deep before last Sunday. So there's always been a little bit of limitation in his ability. So he's always been a special teamer, but he will be there this Sunday. So it'll be excited to see the 1-2 punch that him and Jerick McKinnon are able to bring to the table.
I think it's possible. I think
DJ
that
Jones just had an ankle injury, but he's not on this injury report. And this injury report is from the 49ers website itself. This is the one we always use because it's the most accurate. So no DJ Jones, I'm going to assume, is a good thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to expect him to play. So that's good. We need his pass rushing abilities and we need his run stopping abilities because the Niners are struggling a little bit against the run here. So we do need some assistance on that front. Pass defense is actually doing fairly well, all things considered. We just need that pass rush to help complement them because that was half of the reason why they were really good. There was times when the pass rush was definitely, the anchor in helping our guys in the backfield really become the number one pass defense in the NFL. But we also know that there were some times when the pass rush just wasn't working and we just had great coverage. So we're just going to have to depend a little bit more on those guys while we kind of work up the guys that are coming up from the depth chart to kind of fill them in the lineup. I'm hoping that Kerry Hyder steps up. And I'm hoping that DJ Jones plays because that'll be a huge boost. And we know what we're going to get out of Eric Armstead. So thank God for that. Because if we don't have someone step up on the other side, they're just going to double team him and take him out of the equation because there's no one to, there's no real threat there. So if somebody is able to provide a threat, then that'll take some pressure and force some one-on-ones with Armstead, which will be huge in terms of generating pressure. Because even him just getting pressure is good enough to really throw most quarterbacks off their rhythm. And that's really all we need to do. That's the minimum, of course. Ideally, we'd like a sack. But we'll just have to see how things play out. But so far, we already know who's not going to be there. We know who is going to be there. And I think there's enough there to, feel good about our chances in this game. Remember, not thinking long-term. It's a daunting thought to think long-term. Just thinking about the Giants game now. And as far as the game's concerned, I feel pretty good about our chances.
I feel pretty good too. I feel strangely optimistic. I feel like there's a part of me that says I shouldn't be optimistic right now. Part of me is like, you should not be optimistic right now. You should feel like crap. Because like your buddy said in the bar, that your season's done. I don't think our season's done. I think you can take the finger off the panic button and you can relax and you can just take a breath and stay confident that we're capable of doing this. 49ers are capable of winning this game. We can do this game. We can win it.
They are.
We can win it with Nick Mullins. Now, Raymond, let me ask you, let's get right to it. How do you see this game going? Give me your prediction for how this game pans out.
To me, I think it's really going to be the Jerick McKinnon and Jeff Wilson show. I really think they're going to be the ones to set the tone offensively. We don't know if George Kittle's going to be there. It's a long shot. And remember, we said that the NFL was definitely going to step in and check on that field over at MetLife. And sure enough, they did. But they cleared the field for play on Sunday. They didn't find anything wrong with it in particular. So, hey, I remember the NFL, love them or hate them, as an organization, the fact of the matter remains that they have some of the best people in the business when it comes to medical, landscaping, those, between medical staff, training staff, landscaping staff that make sure the field is ready to go on Sunday. They have the best of all of those worlds. So, rest assured, they're not going to be lax on any kind of field evaluation, because if you see those players go down, the amount of people that went down in that week, the NFL does not like injuries. Injuries hurt the NFL's bottom line, especially when the players that go down are marquee star players, the Nick Bosa's of the world, the Saquon Barkley's of the world. That is not a good thing. So anything to ensure the safety and well-being of players, whether it's on the training side and in addition to the field side, the NFL is always going to be thorough in ensuring that they have the best chance to, remain healthy. But of course, injuries is a common occurrence in the NFL, unfortunately. I wish they could all stay healthy all year long, because that would be awesome. But that is not the reality that we live in. So the NFL cleared the field, and, some people don't feel comfortable with that. We know that Trent Williams came out and said that, he's definitely a little wary about that, and rightfully so. A lot of dudes went down, and it'd be a shame if there was another horrible nightmare weekend of players going down, because if that happens, then I am going to start to hear the echoes of that guy in the bar saying the season's over. Because right now, with the injuries that we're dealing with, we are flirting with a more more of an 11-5, 10-6 type of season. But if we have another flurry of injuries come and hit this team, then, now you're flirting with a 9-7, 8-8 type of season.
Yeah, which
So
might not get you. Is probably maybe with as wonky as season.
Maybe with the new structure.
Yeah, maybe this gets us in. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, this is what we're trying to avoid. Obviously, you want to win as many games as possible, and that is your best chance to get in. Going back to the field, I want to yes-and you in that, and absolutely, I do trust the NFL's evaluation. As you said, I can already hear the Niner fans online. Oh, my God, this is bull, da-da-da-da-da-da. Listen.
It's rigged.
It's rigged.
There's a conspiracy against the 49ers.
Against the 49ers. It's not a conspiracy.
Alex Jones. It's a conspiracy.
It's Niners. It's not. It is simply the fact that I believe if there was cause to pause, they would have solved it. So there's no cause to pause. They've checked it out. Let's trust it, and let's hope that this week is a better week, okay? And let's get through the game. Raymond, final score.
Final score. I'm going to say here with a Saquon Barkley-less Giants and some missing defenders on our side that still definitely were able to dominate a very depleted Jets roster. I'm really expecting the same thing is going to happen here. Although Nick Mullins is not a Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy was really one of the people that was able to push the offense to do what it did in the first half. And so I'm going to say this is going to be more something along the lines of 24 to 13, maybe 24-15, something along those lines, 27-10 would be my optimistic projection, but I think it's going to be more like 24 to 13.
Funny you say that. I was thinking somewhere along the lines of 21-14. I could see Nick Mullins probably passing for like 280 yards, 250 to 280 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception.
It's possible. I mean, this is different because now we know that throughout this whole week of practice, Nick Mullins has been getting the lion's share of first-team reps. So it's not like Jimmy gets the first-team reps and then, oh, by the way, we're going to pull him out in the second half, warm up. So that's a little bit different. This time Nick Mullins is being prepped for the game. So he will come in there with a lot more polish, a lot more confidence, I would imagine. So, and take that into consideration because the last time Nick Mullins was prepped like this, he torched the Raiders on a I think it was a Sunday or Monday night football game, something like
Thursday
that.
night. I think it was Thursday.
Night. Was it Thursday?
Yeah.
Nick Mullins torched them. So Nick Mullins is very much capable of destroying a team, and that was a couple years ago when the Niners were absolute trash. So this is a much different scenario against a very inferior opponent. So that's why I think it's a high probability that the Niners are able to dominate a team like the Giants the same way they did against the Jets, even though we had some of those star pieces play throughout the first half of the game. But either way, I think Nick Mullins is capable of torching these guys. I just feel like the running game is really what's going to get us going. We're going to see a lot. I'm excited to see Jerick McKinnon. I am also curious to see Jordan Reed get out there again and do another George Kittle impersonation. He's fantastic. So I really like what we're seeing out of him. And let's see some more Brandon Ayuk. He only had 2 catches last game. One of them got some yak, which was nice to see. Want to see some more of that. And so I would say that. So, I want to start a new thing where we talk about players to watch for the 49ers. There's 2 players on offense I want to keep my eyes on, and there's 2 players on defense I want to keep my eyes on. On the defensive side, I definitely want to keep my eyes on Eric Armstead, and I want to keep my eyes on Kerry Hyder, I think is his name. Oh, no, Kerry Hyder. Because we know some other people. I want to see how Eric Armstead does when he's missing some of those pieces. Is he able to maintain, his presence on that line the same way that an Aaron Donald does with a depleted line? Because most of the Rams just got Aaron Donald. There's no Robert Quinn over there, complimenting him anymore. It hasn't been that way for a while. So I'm curious to see how he performs And I want to see how Kerry Hyder does. We've been seeing flashes of him, and I really want to see now that he's going to get more playing time. How's he going to do with that more playing time? Are we going to see, the emergence of another Ronald Blair? I'm curious about that. On the offensive side, it's pretty plain and simple who I want to see. I definitely want to see Brandon Ayuk. I want to see more of him. And number 2 is, without a doubt, Jerick McKinnon. I want to see some more of that explosiveness that we've seen in the first 2 weeks. 2 touchdowns, 2 games, and huge yard per carry. He looks explosive. He definitely looks like hasn't skipped a beat in 2 years. So definitely want to see him more because he's gonna be the bell cow now going forward. And so I'm very excited to see what he's going to produce on the field because I have optimism for how he's going to perform based on these past 2 games.
I think so too. As long as they can stay healthy, absolutely, I agree. I want to bring something back from last season. I'm glad you've introduced that new little segment, Raymond's Watch, right there. And so I'm going to bring something back. In week 1, we definitely saw Jimmy Garoppolo kind of doing Jimmy Garoppolo things. But then in week 2, we saw Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what we saw on one leg. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's back. The Italian stallion.
He goes
Jimmy
full
Garoppolo.
Italian stallion when he starts the ball out. Like against New Orleans. That was Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's back. The Italian stallion. He's here. Hey. You go up to the church. You have the priest bless him before the game.
When he goes to Italy, he gets called out. Jimmy, is that you? I love it the way you throw the football.
Jimmy Garoppolo, come here. Bring Garoppolo over here. So I want to see one guy do his best Jimmy Garoppolo impersonation, and that's our boy Nick Mullins.
All right.
Give me one good impersonation of Jimmy Garoppolo, and I will be out. That's all I'm asking from you, Nick Mullins. I believe in you. That's the guy who that's the guy that I'm trying to put my faith in this week. That's who my faithful guy, Nick Mullins. I believe in you. Give us one game. Go, like I said, go for 250, 280 yards passing. 2 touchdowns. I'll even take 1 interception from you. I know we're probably going to get 2 touchdowns and an interception. You think that's about right for him? I'd say that's about right.
Yeah. 2-1 sounds right on.
Yeah, 1 sounds right on. So, but just give us your best impersonation of Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all I'm asking for.
All right. So the Professor Watch says, show me some Nick Mullins. And the Fanalist Watch says, show me some Jerick McKinnon, Brandon Ayuk. And also, let's see what Eric Armstead and Kerry Hyder are able to do on the defensive side.
Absolutely.
With that depleted pass rush.
So, what say you, GoldCast Nation? Who are the guys you're going to be looking out for this weekend? And do the 49ers win? And what is the final score? Let us know on youtube.com/thegoldcast. And we'll be back next week with our recap of this game. Hopefully, a lot less injuries and a lot more winning. Let's just keep continuing to win. And Ray, Giants still in the hunt. I'm only going to talk for like 60 seconds on it. We lost today, but we took the series against the Rockies. We've got literally 5 more days, and they basically have to win out, and let's hope they do it. So go Giants.
They do. They've only lost 2 games this week, so that's pretty good. Definitely, obviously, best case scenario should have been to, kind of sweep the week. But 2 games, I think they're like 3-2 this week so far, something like that. They've been playing. The schedule's crazy how they cram double headers and stuff like that in there. But they're still in it. So we'll see how it goes. And the A's, meanwhile, are struggling against the Dodgers for the second series in a row that they faced them.
Did they win today? Did the A's win today?
They lost today.
Oh, so Dodgers won the series.
Dodgers have dominated the A's quite convincingly in the series that they've faced off in so far this season. So if that ends up being a World Series match, that's not going to bode so well. But we know that, what happens in regular season doesn't always translate to what you should expect to happen in the playoffs, especially the World Series, if it comes to that.
That's right, and the playoffs begin next week.
Yes,
hopefully,
and we all know what happens to the Dodgers in the playoffs.
We do. Hopefully, our San Francisco Giants are in there. And hey, the A's are definitely going, so plenty to watch out for, and we will be covering that stuff. Hopefully, we need to talk to our boy Candlestick Will. The new season's here. We haven't seen him. It'd be great to get him on for postseason baseball. So let's talk.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that too. And we know that I know that our boy Pete Zimmer, the Zimmer man, I know that he's watching, a big Oakland fan out there. So I know he's a big Raiders fan. I'm sure he enjoyed the big Raiders win on Monday. But I know that he's also watching some A's too.
Yeah, we did. Well, we got to get him back on the show. He's down to do show whenever. So Pete, we're calling out for you, buddy. You better be on here
Get
soon.
some Pete.
That's right. All right, gang. We'll see you next week. And so concludes another edition of the GoldCast. We are the voice of the Bay. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and with me is my brother, my co-host,
Raymond Solis the First, baby.
Boom! We'll see you next time. Same GoldCast time, same GoldCast channel.